What if everything you've been told about history is only a fraction of the truth? Imagine a civilization so vast, so advanced, that it's stretched across continents, yet today it barely exists in textbooks. No clear origin, no official explanation, just fragments, maps, buildings, and whispers. This is the story of Tartary, a name once printed boldly across old world maps, covering enormous regions of Asia, Europe, and even parts of North America. But here's the mystery. How does something that big simply disappear? Tonight, you're going to follow a trail of real historical records, forgotten architecture, and controversial interpretations that challenge everything we think we know about the past. The term Tartary wasn't invented by conspiracy theorists. It appears in countless maps from the 16th to 18th centuries, created by respected European cartographers. These maps label a massive territory as Great Tartary, spanning from the Caspian Sea all the way to the Pacific Ocean. But historians today often claim that Tartary wasn't a unified empire, just a vague label Europeans used for unknown lands. Yet, when you look closer, the consistency is unsettling. The borders are defined, the name is repeated, and the scale suggests something far more organized than just unknown territory. So the question emerges, were these early mapmakers simply guessing, or were they documenting something real that has since been erased or reinterpreted? Now let's look at the people associated with Tartary. Historical records describe the Tartars as a diverse group, often portrayed as nomadic tribes. But some accounts contradict this image. Travelers and explorers wrote about cities, advanced infrastructure, and structured societies. If Tartary was merely a collection of scattered tribes, how do we explain the presence of large, complex urban environments? Even more intriguing, some of these descriptions hint at technological capabilities that seem ahead of their time, while mainstream history attributes these accounts to exaggeration or misunderstanding. Others believe they point to something far more significant, lost or suppressed chapter of human development. One of the most debated aspects of Tartary is its architecture. Across Russia, Central Asia, and even parts of Eastern Europe, there are massive, ornate buildings that don't quite fit the official timelines. These structures feature intricate designs, enormous columns, and engineering precision that would have required advanced knowledge. Some researchers argue that many of these buildings were not constructed by the civilizations credited with them, but instead inherited from an earlier, more advanced society, possibly Tartary. While this idea is controversial, the visual evidence raises questions. Why do so many buildings from different regions share similar styles and techniques, despite being attributed to unrelated cultures? Another fascinating piece of the puzzle lies in the concept of mudfloods. This theory suggests that many ancient structures appear partially buried, as if a sudden, large-scale event covered entire cities in layers of sediment. In some locations, windows and doors are found below ground level, hinting that the original street levels were much lower. Traditional explanations point to natural processes, like gradual soil accumulation, but critics argue that the scale and consistency across different regions don't fully align with that explanation. Could there have been a global or regional catastrophe that reshaped the landscape, and with it, erased traces of Tartary? Then there's the question of technology. Some alternative historians believe Tartary may have utilized forms of energy that we don't fully understand today. They point to architectural features like domes, spires, and metallic structures that resemble antennas or energy collectors. While there's no mainstream scientific evidence confirming this, the idea persists because of the patterns observed in old buildings. Certain structures seem designed not just for aesthetics, but for function possibly related to energy distribution. Whether this is coincidence, misinterpretation, or evidence of lost technology remains an open debate. However, it's important to ground this discussion in reality. There is no verified historical proof that Tartary was a single, unified empire with advanced technology beyond known civilizations. Most academic historians agree that Tartary was a broad term used by Europeans to describe vast and largely unexplored regions inhabited by various cultures. The maps, while detailed, reflect the limited knowledge of the time. But here's where things get interesting. Even if Tartary wasn't an empire, the sheer amount of documentation suggests it was more than just a vague label. It represented a significant part of the world that played a role in global history, yet remains poorly understood. So why does Tartary continue to capture attention today? Because it sits at the intersection of fact and mystery. On one hand, we have real maps, real accounts, and real structures. On the other, we have gaps, inconsistencies, and unanswered questions. And humans are naturally drawn to what doesn't fully make sense. The idea that history could be incompleter, even intentionally, altered is powerful. It challenges authority, sparks curiosity, and invites deeper investigation. Whether Tartary was a misunderstood region, or something far more complex. It reminds us that history is not always as clear-cut as we're taught in recent years. The topic has exploded online, with videos, forums, and researchers attempting to piece together the puzzle. Some theories go far beyond the evidence, suggesting global cover-ups or lost supercivilizations. Others take a more measured approach, focusing on re-examining historical records and architectural anomalies. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, where curiosity meets critical thinking. Because while it's easy to dismiss everything as fantasy, it's equally dangerous to accept every claim without evidence. At its core, the story of Tartary is not just about a place. It's about how we interpret the past. It's about the reliability of historical narratives and the possibility that some details may have been lost over time. Civilizations rise and fall. Records are destroyed. Languages disappear. And sometimes, entire cultures fade into obscurity, leaving behind only fragments for future generations to interpret. Tartary may be one of those fragments, a puzzle missing key pieces. As you've seen, the evidence is real, but the conclusions are still debated. Old maps prove the name existed. Architecture raises questions. Historical accounts offer clues, but none of it forms a complete, undeniable picture. And maybe that's what makes Tartary so compelling. It's not a solved mystery, it's an open question. One that invites you to look deeper, question assumptions, and explore the edges of what we think we know. Because in the end, the most powerful idea isn't that Tartary was a hidden empire. It's that history itself may still hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. And the next time you look at an old map or pass by an ancient building, you might start to wonder how much of the past is truly understood and how much is still hidden beneath the surface.